On the morning of October 14th, Marcus pulled up his bank account in the parking lot of a Kroger in Dayton, Ohio. The balance was $1,140. The month had 9 days left in it. He did not go inside. 8 months earlier, that same account held $18,400. 6 months of emergency savings, calculated to the dollar. The number had felt like a wall between his family and something he didn't want to name. The layoff happened in February, so by October, the wall was gone. What remained was $9,200 in credit card debt, a mortgage payment due in 11 days, and a final round interview he hadn't heard back from. Marcus Elkins was 41 years old. He had spent 7 years as a project manager at a mid-sized logistics company in Dayton, Ohio. His performance reviews were consistently above average. He was, by most measures, careful. He and his wife Jennifer had 2 kids, 9 and 12. She worked part-time as a school aide, 20 hours a week. Their monthly expenses were $3,067. Marcus tracked it in a spreadsheet, updated every Sunday. The emergency fund had taken 4 years to build. $18,400. It sat in a high-yield savings account, separate from checking, deliberately inconvenient to access. Marcus had read about the psychology of that. He understood it. He had been laid off once before, at 34, at a smaller company in the same industry. It took 11 weeks. He remembered that number the way you remember something that turned out okay. 11 weeks. He'd been fine. He told Jennifer the same day. They sat at the kitchen table after the kids went to bed. He opened the spreadsheet. He showed her the numbers. $18,400. 6 months. Jennifer asked if they should tell the kids. Marcus said not yet. It would be handled before anyone needed to know. He believed that. The spreadsheet showed 6 months of runway. The math said he was right. He updated his resume the first week. By week 2, he had applied to 19 positions. 6 responses came back. 3 interviews were scheduled. The pipeline looked reasonable. Maybe 11 weeks, maybe 12. It looked manageable. If you want to see how 6 months of savings disappears before the 8 months are up, subscribe. Drop a like if this one hit close. Tell us in the comments, how many months of expenses do you actually have saved right now? Back to Marcus. In the first month, he turned down a contract position, $14 an hour below his previous salary. No benefits, no path to permanent. He wasn't desperate yet. That was the word he used to himself. Yet. The problem wasn't the decision he made in February. It was the decision he kept not making, every week, every month, for 8 months after that. But March moved slowly. 2 more interviews arrived in the second week, one reaching final rounds by mid-month. Marcus tracked response times in the spreadsheet alongside expenses. He was still inside the model. The grocery budget dropped from $620 to $490. They canceled 3 streaming services, $47 a month combined. Jennifer stopped her Saturday yoga class, $80 a month. These were easy cuts. They told themselves these were enough. By April, at the account at $12,800, still inside the plan. The final round position came back as a freeze. The company had paused all hiring, no timeline given. He moved it to a different column in the spreadsheet. He applied to 26 more positions in April. The response rate was lower. He noticed this, but attributed it to the lag of the hiring cycle. In April, that interpretation was still defensible. The $3,067 monthly expense number began to slip. April came in at $3,210. The car needed a brake job, $340. He noted it. He adjusted the average. He told himself it was a one-time thing. May brought 2 more interviews. Neither advanced. One gave no reason. The other said they'd gone with an internal candidate. Marcus wrote this down. He was keeping a record of everything. That was what careful people did. The account entered June at $9,400. With 3 months gone. 9 months of careful saving, drawn down across 3 months of equally careful spending. He looked at that number on a Sunday and didn't open the spreadsheet for 2 days. June was when he stopped telling Jennifer the exact balance. Not lying, not hiding. He would say it was fine. They had runway. It was being managed. This was technically true. It was also a choice. He interviewed for a position in Columbus, an hour and 40 minutes away. But the salary was lower, but it was work. He didn't mention it to Jennifer until the second interview. He wasn't sure why. July arrived. The account was at $6,100. Less than 2 months of expenses at their reduced burn rate. Marcus opened a credit card he hadn't used in 3 years. 0 balance. He called it a bridge. He put the July mortgage payment on the card, $1,247. But he told himself he would pay it off the moment the job came through. The interest rate was 19.9%. He knew this. He noted it. The Columbus position moved to final rounds in late July. He drove down twice. He wore the same suit both times, a charcoal wool blend he had bought for a company presentation in 2019. He felt certain. August opened with $4,800 in savings and $1,247 on the card. But he charged groceries that month, $490, and the gas for the Columbus drives, $180. He was not panicking. That was important to him. He was managing. The Columbus position called on August 19th. They had selected another candidate. Marcus was told he had been their second choice. He thanked them. He hung up. He sat in the car in the driveway for 22 minutes. He had done everything correctly. The spreadsheet, at the tracking, the reduced spending, the applications. He had followed the model exactly. The model had just never accounted for a market that didn't care how prepared he was. That night, Jennifer made pasta. The kids argued about something at the table. He watched them. He did not tell her about Columbus. This is the part that stays with you, not the money, the dinner. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average unemployment duration in the United States in 2023 was 22. 2 weeks, 6 months of savings covers approximately that. It does not cover more. September. The account held $3,400. The credit card balance was $2,840. He transferred $2,000 from savings to checking to cover the mortgage. The spreadsheet no longer showed runway. It showed a countdown. Jennifer found out about the card balance on a Tuesday. She had been looking at the online bank account for something else. She called him into the kitchen. She showed him the screen. He nodded. He said, "I know." She didn't raise her voice. She asked 3 questions. How long had this been going on? What was the plan? Was he telling her everything? He answered the first 2. He said yes to the third. He applied to 6 more positions in the first week of September, all of them below what he'd been targeting, and he had quietly dropped his salary floor by $12,000. He did not mention this to Jennifer. The car insurance renewed in September, $1,340 for the year, paid annually. He put it on the card. The balance crossed $4,000. He updated the spreadsheet and closed the laptop before Jennifer could walk by. The kids asked about Halloween costumes, 9 and 12, still the age where it matters. Jennifer said they'd figure something out. Sure, the 12-year-old said okay. The 9-year-old asked how much they cost. Marcus said, not much. He had a phone screen in the second week of September, a company in Indianapolis. It advanced to a video interview. He told Jennifer it felt promising. He had used that word before. She didn't say so. The savings account reached $980 on September 28th. He transferred it all to checking. There was no longer any meaningful distinction between the two accounts. Yet he deleted the high-yield savings tab from the spreadsheet without deciding to. October opened with $980 in checking and $5,100 on the card. He still opened the spreadsheet every Sunday. The Sunday ritual had not changed. The numbers inside it had changed completely. The Indianapolis position went dark. No response to 2 follow-up emails. He called on a Thursday. The recruiter said the role had been restructured. He wasn't sure what that meant, so he wrote it down anyway. Jennifer accepted full-time hours at the school, an aide position that had opened up, $16.40 an hour. She didn't ask Marcus whether she should take it. He understood. That was the point. She had already decided. The 6 months had lasted exactly 6 months. The problem was never the savings. It was the space between what a plan assumes and what a year actually does to it. A call came on October 17th, a hiring manager from a company he had interviewed with in August, and one he had written off. Their first choice had taken a counteroffer. Was Marcus still available? He was. The offer came 3 days later, $71,500 a year, 14% below his previous salary. Benefits after 60 days. Start date, November 3rd. He accepted the same afternoon and called Jennifer from the driveway. He started on November 3rd. The commute was 40 minutes each way. He had not replaced his travel mug since it broke in September, and he bought a new one at a gas station on the first morning. The credit card balance at the end of October was $9,200. At $250 a month, what they could manage alongside the reduced salary and Jennifer's new hours, it would take 31 months to pay off. The emergency fund sat at zero. He opened a new savings tab in the spreadsheet in November. The target was $18,400, the same number as before. On it, he calculated it would take 22 months to rebuild, assuming no disruptions. Jennifer kept the full-time hours. The kids were never told the specific numbers. The 12-year-old had noticed things were quieter that fall. Fewer dinners out, different answers to certain questions. He hadn't said anything. Neither had they. As of last year, the card balance was at $6,100. The emergency fund held $4,200, and he still updated the spreadsheet every Sunday. This wasn't the only time this happened. 6 months of savings, 8 months of unemployment. It made sense at the time.